Good morning. I'm Anita Thurman, and I'm this morning's worship associate here at Horizon. We are excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We are so glad you are with us today, whether you're joining us in person or visually. Whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been here for longer than you can remember. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith in particular. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you're welcome among us. This morning's announcements, we have three. The first is that the Sunrise people who are in the front row are going to do our service today. The Sunrise Movement has a presentation after the service, 11:45 to 12:45. There will be food. Look at the insert in your order of service, the green one, and it'll tell you more about it. Okay, there will also be a Q&A for those joining the church next week, and that will be in the library. And if everybody knows the library is that way, right? I think. Okay, and from Kent, the Visual Artists Guild of Frisco exhibit ends today. That's what's on the walls. If you plan to purchase a piece of art, a representative from the Guild will be at the back table to help you after the worship service.
Hello. I am Melinda Enox-Baucom. I am the chairperson of the Green Sanctuary Task Force here at Horizon, and I'd like to welcome our guest speakers, Nathan May, Hope Indrenyi, Kidas Germa of the Sunrise Movement, Dallas. It is a youth-led climate movement that works to stop climate change and creating millions of good jobs in the process, so win-win. They are also our Share the Plate recipient, and you're going to be hearing more from them later. Our call to worship this morning comes from Kenneth L. Patton. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of friendships, a haven in trouble, and an open room for the encouragement of our struggle. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It offers a platform for the free voice, for declaring, both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion. It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks. It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress. This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Menica, and our chalice lighting today is Hymn to the Light by David Breeden. Our light is the light of the sun, keeper of all we love. Our light is the light of the earth, provider of sustenance. Our light is the light of all living things, life precious like our own. Our light is the light of each of us, bound together in need and hope. Our light is the light of the cosmos, keeper of all we know. Please stand in body or in spirit for our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. Now please remain standing as you are willing or able for our opening hymn, Blue Boat Home, number 1064 in the Teal hymnal.
standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
I raised 6 kids. Y'all could actually hear me if I tried, even without this. Okay. One microbe by itself can't do too much. But they live in your planet body and depend on you for their whole lives. But your planet body also depends on them to stay healthy. If the microbiota are out of balance, too much of one, not enough of the other, you're more likely to get sick. Have any of you ever been sick? Like all of you, right? Maybe a fever, throwing up. That's like the worst. I've been sick too. Oh yeah, only once. Just knock on wood. Yeah. When this happens, it might be because the microbiota in your planet body got out of balance. Some microbiota protect you from bacteria that make you sick. Other microbiota help you digest your food. In general, if you are healthy, you can thank all those trillions of tiny microbiota working together to keep things in balance. So our bodies are like a planet, but our planet Earth is like a body. What's the microbiota on the planet Earth? You know? People, yeah, living things. So I'm Microbe Melinda, and y'all are Microbe, whatever your names. Okay, we are so tiny compared to our planet that we don't even notice or remember how much we depend on our planet. For the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, like everything. But just like the microbiota in our bodies, our planet Earth also depends on us. Just like your body depends on your microbiota to stay balanced and healthy, our planet Earth depends on people to stay balanced. Now, you probably know that our planet is not very healthy right now. This is because people have been out of balance. Sometimes this feels like a really big problem for one little microbe like me. Our planet Earth is so big, but together with lots of people, I am working to get our planet Earth back in balance. I do little things like trying to walk instead of drive my car when I can, do medium things like writing to government officials and talking to people about how important it is to put things back in balance. And sometimes I get to be part of big things like Green Sanctuary Task Force and this service. Our planet Earth is sick, and each of us are just tiny microbes, but by working together, we can push the balance of our Earth back towards healthy. Now, I want the kids to come up here on this platform with me, please. We're gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna make you work. Oh my gosh. We're gonna do a little activity. It's gonna involve the whole church, anybody who's willing and able to do this activity. So I'm gonna stand here in the middle, and if y'all line up just kind of on either side. Just remind me to put this microphone down before we do this. Maybe give yourselves a little space, because what we're going to do is we're going to make a wave that's going to go through the whole church by raising our arms and saying, woo! We're going to do it 3 times, so here we go. Okay, and if you'll join me in singing the children out, please.
We, this congregation, are the church. And it is only by our contributions that the church is able to do the work in which we all participate to make this world a better place. Now the offertory will be given and received.
Mother Earth, my dear, you are divine. Land and sea and starlight, all those upon you shine. Mother Earth, my dear, we feel your warm embrace. Spirits, gods, and creatures all live and love within your grace. Oh, it was a great day, the day of your creation. The heavens sang a song as you spun out from a star. And it is a great day, that day of your creation. Your harmony lives through us, your children we are. Mother Earth, my dear, you are divine. Our light, all those upon you shine. Mother Earth, my dear, we feel your warm embrace. Spirits, God, and creatures all live in love within your grace. We're enfolded by your beauty as you wrap yourself around us, and inspired by the bounty as you teach us how to give. Your sweet love's without exception as it fills us with your magic, and we sing to you our gratitude and prayers to let you live. Mother Earth, my dear, you are divine. Land and sea and starlight, all those upon you shine. Mother Earth, my dear, we feel your warm embrace. Spirits, gods, and creatures all live and love within your grace.
Our first reading comes from the poem Earthrise by Amanda Gorman. On Christmas Eve, 1968, astronaut Bill Anders snapped a photo of the Earth as Apollo 8 orbited the moon. Those three guys were surprised to see from their eyes our planet looked like an Earthrise, a blue orb hovering over the moon's gray horizon with deep oceans and silver skies. It was our world's first glance at itself, our first chance to see a shared reality, a declared stance, and a commonality. A glimpse into our planet's mirror, and as threats grew nearer, our own urgency became clearer as we realized that we hold nothing dearer than this floating body we all call home. We've known that we're caught in the throes of climactic changes some say will just go away, while some simply pray to survive another day. For it is the obscure, the oppressed, the poor, who, when the disaster is declared done, still suffer more than anyone. Climate change is the single greatest challenge of our time. Of this you're certainly aware. It is saddening, but I cannot spare you. For knowing an inconvenient fact, because it's getting the facts straight that gets us to act and not to wait. So I tell you this not to scare you, but to prepare you, to dare you, to dream a different reality, where despite disparities, we all care to protect this world, this riddled blue marble, this little true marvel, to muster the verve and the nerve to see how we can serve our planet. You don't need to be a politician to make it your mission to conserve, to protect, to preserve that one and only home that is ours, to use your unique power to give next generations the planet they deserve. We are demonstrating, creating, advocating. We heed this inconvenient truth because we need to be anything but lenient with the future of our youth. And while this is a training in sustaining the future of our planet, there is no rehearsal. The time is now, 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 because the reversal of harm and protection of a future so universal should be anything but controversial. So Earth, pale blue dot, we will fail you not. Just as we choose to go to the moon, we know it's never too soon to choose hope. We choose to do more than cope with climate change. We choose to end it. We refuse to lose. Together we can do this and more, not because it's very easy or nice, but because it is necessary. Because with every dawn, we carry the weight of the fate of this celestial body orbiting a star. And as heavy as that weight sounds, it doesn't hold us down, but it keeps us grounded, steady, ready. Because an environmental movement of this size is simply another form of an Earthrise. Now is the time in our worship service when we will share joys and sorrows, have a time of silent meditation, a time for spoken prayer, and sing our responsive hymn. We don't have any joys and sorrows in the bowl, but as I light this candle for all the joys and sorrows that are unspoken and for all the joys and sorrows that affect the world beyond us, let us remember that what affects one affects us all. So now we will have a time of silence. You may close your eyes if you wish to do so. Our prayer today is a responsive prayer. And when I put my hand up like this, I would like you to say, "We join with the earth and with each other." Let's try it. We join with the earth and with each other. So this prayer comes, it's called Prayers of the People, and it comes from the UN Environmental Sabbath Service from Earth Day 1990. So to bring new life to the land, to restore the waters, to refresh the air, we join with the earth and with each other. To renew the forests, to care for the plants, to protect the creatures, we join with the earth and with each other. To celebrate the seas, to rejoice in the sunlight, to sing the song of the stars, we join with the earth and with each other. To recall our destiny, to renew our spirits, to reinvigorate our bodies, we join with the earth and with each other. To recreate the human community, to promote justice and peace, to remember our children, we join with the earth and with each other. We join together as many and diverse expressions of one loving mystery for the healing of the earth and the renewal of all life. Now please stand in body or in spirit and join in singing our responsive hymn, For the Earth Forever Turning. It's 163 in the gray hymnal.
For the earth forever turning, o'er the skies for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. O'er the mountains
Our second reading this morning comes from The Householder's Guide to the Universe by Harriet Fazanfast. With all the obstacles currently facing our planet, householding has given me a way to understand and challenge the quagmire of contemporary society. To live in one world and dream in another can cause only discomfort. Rebalancing our language and agenda in hopes of bringing about a better world is what we are after. Even though we still live by and submit to the linear, global, wasteful, and objectifying pattern language of industry, we can reach for that lovely, circular, small loop, cradle-to-grave pattern language of the natural world. We, as residents of the planet, still have time to rethink what would make for a true and just economy. We still have time to learn how to manage our households and our resources with care. Oops.
Okay, before we hear from our guest speakers, I'd like us to reflect on Horizon's Green Sanctuary journey to date. Green Sanctuary is a UUA program begun in 1989 and administered by the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for Earth. The program's latest revision, Green Sanctuary 2030, was created in response to the urgent need for a massive drop in global emissions of carbon dioxide by the year 2030. To achieve accreditation, a congregation performs self-assessments, writes an action plan, and once its application and plan are approved, completes a number of projects related to environmental and climate justice. The process, designed to be transformational, assists congregations and individuals move ever closer to more environmentally aware spiritual practices. When all requirements are met and the final report approved, the congregation is granted official Green Sanctuary accreditation. Horizon's Green Sanctuary journey began when I became a member of this church in 2018 and started thinking about what my service to justice would look like. Because as we know, you use justice, Anyone who gets to know me learns pretty quickly that to me, the environment and climate are it. When I learned of the Green Sanctuary program from a fellow Horizon member, it seemed like a great fit. On May 30th, 2019, 4 of us met to form the Green Sanctuary Exploratory Team and went through first steps of talking to congregation members, gathering information through a congregational survey, and receiving approval from our minister and the board. We then set to work creating a plan and working on projects. Projects we have done include the One Thing You Can Do, which is a Green Action Opportunities, formerly part of the worship service and now part of our newsletter, helping to plan Earth Sunday services the last 3 years, providing learning activities and information for adults and children through the Earth Weekend drive-through event, a socially responsible investing workshop, a Justice on Earth book discussion series, and a Think Resilience course created by the Post-Carbon Institute. Also, we brought a Right Here, Right Now UUA letter writing initiative to Horizon in support of food and climate justice, putting together a team to participate in the Drawdown Eco Challenge, creating and holding an ethical eating workshop entitled The Power of Your Plate, and our Shingle Mountain project, in which we partnered with Downwinders at Risk, Southern Sector Rising, and other individuals and groups to advocate for the safe removal of an illegal dump of toxic shingle waste, which, unsurprisingly, was located beside a neighborhood in South Dallas whose residents are almost exclusively people of color. As many of you know from a recent worship service announcement, the Horizon Green Sanctuary Task Force has, at long last, and not without a big sigh of relief, submitted our final report to the manager of the Green Sanctuary program. What a journey. Today, it is my great honor and pleasure to announce to you here and to those watching from home that you, Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church, are now an official Green Sanctuary congregation. Okay, I didn't actually cry. I did at home, so I pre-did that. It's been a long time. I'd like to quickly thank everyone who helped on this sometimes rocky journey with all its twists and turns. Laura Brandis, Meredith Barber, members of the board past and present, Sarah Beryl Harrop, Nancy Foreman, Deb Freeman, Lauren Daniel, past and current team members, Kent Darwin, Elaine McMillan, Anita Thurman, Menica Patacondla, and Lisa Casto watching from home. You were a rock girl, thank you. My long-suffering husband, David, who's not here but is watching, and all of you who have helped or participated in our justice projects by writing letters, attending events, marching to City Hall, living green, growing and learning with us. If I've left anyone out, please forgive me. I'm also preparing for our daughter's wedding, which is in 4 days. So know that you are all appreciated. But as we know, the justice journey never really ends. And so it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speakers here to talk about their personal stake in the climate crisis and what their work means to them are Nathan May, Hope Andreni, and Kidus, hope I got that right, Gurma.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nathan. These are my friends, Hope and Ketis, and it's so good to be here. And congratulations to y'all on the certification. That's super awesome. So we're going to chat with you guys a little bit here today, and then I hope that you will also join us after the service in the fellowship hall, where we have a special presentation we're really excited to share with you. I wanted to start by just taking a minute to appreciate some of the wonderful things that we get to enjoy thanks to the delicate balance of the biosphere. I'm thinking of cooling rains falling on my skin on a hot day, and those rains replenishing our water supply so we can drink, so we can clean ourselves, and so that we can grow our food and cotton and wool and leather. And I'm thinking of the soft beat of a monarch's wings as it makes its miraculous journey across the continent every year, and the amazing intricate webs of biodiversity with countless species all working together to maintain the cycle of life. I'm thinking of all of the gorgeous, comfortable, safe spaces and landscapes that are suited to provide exactly the conditions that humans need to thrive, with exactly the right temperature range, exactly the right kind of air to breathe, and just the right kind of shelter. And I'm thinking how we're so lucky to be in the position we are as humans because we can understand the beauty of these things. We can look in depth at how these systems work. We can even, if we wish, manipulate and change them to suit our desires at times. And one example of humankind's brilliant capacity for understanding the world around them and humanity's place within it comes from Eunice Newton Foote. She's a scientist who published a paper with some pretty important things to say. Foote explains a series of experiments she conducted and her findings. That an increased level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will also lead to an increase in temperature. Eunice Newton Foote's paper describing the concept of global warming was published in 1856. Now, in the 167 years since this paper was published, a lot has happened. Using humanity's unique understanding of the systems of the world, people in power seized the opportunity to gain more power. They exploited the masses and the working class and sent them to ravage the land on their behalf, mining coal and drilling oil. Then they used the wealth from that to game the system further to their advantage, making the fossil fuel industry essential to almost every aspect of our lives, so that we almost have no choice but to buy their product, even if that product is killing us. They, of course, concentrate the effects on the poor and working class, on black and brown communities, and places that they know they can get away with this for-profit murder. Even before looking at the effects of climate change, the air pollution from fossil fuels and the particulate matter is responsible for 1 in 5 of all premature deaths. In 2018, that was 8 million people killed by fossil fuels, not including climate change. But let's not skip climate change. Scientists have made it clear that we need to get off of fossil fuels as rapidly as possible. And so first, let's take a second to think about what it means if we don't do that. For many, it means those cooling rains on a hot day won't come soon enough as people die from the heat. Combine the droughts with the collapse of biodiversity and all that wonderful food that right now we can enjoy any season of the year gets a lot harder to come by. More and more people will be forced to go hungry or be displaced from their homes as they have to find somewhere where food is more readily available. Even more displacement will occur as homes are destroyed when more and more floods and hurricanes and freezes and fires shatter communities. With reliable food and shelter becoming less and less of a possibility, war becomes more and more of a possibility. And these are not just the far-off futures of our children and our grandchildren. These are our futures, and for many people, it's the reality right now. Sometimes talking about climate change can be tricky because everybody has their own reasons to care about it. The thing that I'm most worried about protecting might not be the thing that you're most worried about protecting. But whatever your stake is in climate justice, it's there, and we all have something big at stake worth fighting to save. And that leads to one of the main takeaways that I hope through this talk and our presentation afterwards we can convey, that there are ways to save those things, and not only can you be a part of that solution, you are imperative to those solutions.
Wow, that was so good. I hadn't heard him say that until just now. So yeah, as Nathan highlighted, there's a lot at stake when it comes to climate change. And as he mentioned, we know that scientists are saying we got to make really big shifts in a short amount of time to avoid the worst impacts of climate. And there's a lot of solutions for climate change, but today we want to focus on a solution that we really believe in, which is the Green New Deal. How many folks have heard of the Green New Deal? Okay, cool, wow, amazing, that's great. Well, you might already know what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyways, just in case you don't. So yeah, the Green New Deal kind of highlights three things. What's the problem? What do we need to do to fix it? And how do we do that? So first, let's go over what's the problem. So we know scientists are telling us in order to stay below 1.5 degrees, which is kind of like the barrier at which systems start to collapse around us. In order to stay below that, we need to halve our emissions by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. That's not a lot of time. We're already in 2023, right? 7 years to halve our emissions, which means we got to make big changes in a really short amount of time. So the Green New Deal says, how do we do that? How do we fix that problem? And we all do our part, right? Like, how many of us recycle here? Right? Yeah, maybe. Okay, we conserve our energy, we conserve our water, we do all these things as individuals, which are all wonderful things that we should all do. But then the Green New Deal asks, well, why do these systems exist that make us do these things that aren't great for the environment in the first place, right? And so what the Green New Deal tries to get at is, how do we get to the core root of the problem instead of just kind of putting Band-Aids on the problem? So instead of simply saying, we'll just transition all of our cars to be electric, what if we intervened at the design stage and said, what if we made cities more walkable and public transit friendly, right? How do we get at the core root of our systems or how we design and make things, right? And the Green New Deal addresses this and lays out 14 different really big projects that we could take on as a nation. And just to highlight a few of those, it could be like building resilient infrastructure, electrifying our energy grid, retrofitting buildings, regenerative farming, increasing public transit, restoring key ecosystems, and so on and so forth. And doing it within a really short period of time and kind of mobilizing the whole nation around it, creating jobs in the process. But it's not enough to just say, what are the solutions, right? We also have to ask, how do we pursue those solutions? Because oftentimes when we have these sort of big social and economic changes, a lot of people get left behind. And as it's already been mentioned, we know that climate change is going to impact poor, working class, and communities of color the most. These are the people who have done the least to cause the problem, but will suffer the most from it. And so as we pursue these solutions and kind of reimagine what our economy and society and cities can look like, we have to ask, how do we make sure no one gets left behind and that we're rebuilding in a fair and equitable way for everyone? And so the Green New Deal also includes a provision called a just transition. And that can look like many things. One, for folks working in the oil and gas industry, when we start to transition away from oil and gas and towards electrifying our grid, how do we make sure workers get training, education, and job opportunities so they can transition to other industries and still provide for their families? Or how do we make sure frontline communities, say folks living in coastal regions who often bear the brunt of hurricanes, how do we make sure that they get funding and prioritization when we do implement these pieces of legislation? Or how do we make sure when we're rehabbing ecosystems that we're tapping into indigenous wisdom, people who have lived by and understand the land for millennia, are just a few examples of just transition initiatives. So in summary, we can think of the Green New Deal as not a single piece of legislation, but rather as a framework for how we pursue climate justice through the lens of social justice, and how we make sure that those solutions are systemic, wide-sweeping, and urgent. So all of that to say, I think what inspires me most about the concept of a Green New Deal is that it recognizes that although climate change is the greatest existential threat that humanity faces right now, it's also our greatest opportunity. Because if we have to change everything, that means we can change everything for the better, which brings me a lot of hope. And the last thing I want to say is, how do we make the Green New Deal real? Because everything I mentioned is very ambitious. And we firmly believe that winning a Green New Deal means we have to have collective mass mobilizations of people, which we will get into later in our presentation following the sermon. Yeah, but I'm gonna hand it off to Ketis.
Hi, everyone. Wow, it's been a while since I've been at a podium. I'm excited about it. The next bit is just to get you guys talking a little bit and maybe hearing from the crowd. And so I wanted to pose a question for y'all to talk with someone next to you. And it's a bit of a two-parter. The first part is, what do you have to lose if we don't get the Green New Deal? And on the inverse, what do you have to gain if we do get the Green New Deal? And maybe we give that 2 or 3 minutes, and if there are folks that are excited to share, I would love to hear from you. And if there aren't, I will have to volunteer some folks. So think about what you might want to share. So turn to someone beside you and answer the questions. What do you have to gain, and what do you have to lose if we get the Green New Deal? It seems like there's a lot of conversation, so I know there's going to be a lot of excited folks to share. Are there any groups that are like, this is what we talked about? Just maybe raise your hand up. I think there's a hand back there. Was that a hand? Yes. Do I need to run the mic?
My climate thing is geothermal energy, because this is Texas, and we're really good at drilling holes. Yeah. Start leaping onto geothermal energy, because all you gotta do is drill holes and set up a stop, and you're done.
The person shared about geothermal being an opportunity in Texas. We do a lot of drilling. Maybe if we drill for geothermal, that will be much more beneficial than mining coal. All right, thank you for sharing. Other thoughts? And Hope will run a mic to you. One right here.
I don't really need the mic, but we shared that what we would lose is futures for our children and our grandchildren. I have a granddaughter that's almost 2 years old, and it just kills me to think of what kind of world she's going to inherit from us. And I think we also talked about we stand to lose our faith, our identity as UUs, because if we're not for justice for everybody, why are we even here? So we stand to gain a brighter future and maybe more of a collective future if we can all work together.
Thank you for sharing. I think there's another hand.
Raise your hand so I can see you. Hi. I really went the long way.
We discussed how we would lose access to nature and the cool waters, and that potential is there. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to get outdoors. So, but we also see that we could gain better public transportation, more inclusive public transportation for the people who most need it.
All right, maybe one more if there's an excited group.
We spoke about, obviously, the future for our children, since I have a 1.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, but also losing our minds because we constantly end up being the recycling police. And then there's places around here that don't even have recycling, whole cities that don't even do it. So everything just gets thrown in the dump.
That's true. All right, thank you everyone for sharing. I didn't have to call on anyone or anything. It was beautiful. I love participation. When I think about what I have to gain with the Green New Deal, I often think about the just transition part. So much of its focus is on like, how do you make sure workers get a fair wage? And how do you make sure they have benefits? And so I feel really excited about the concept of a just transition being a conversation about economic justice, and how we can all see ourselves part of that. And when I think of what I have to lose, there's just so much. And I think we all know what those things are, so I won't get into it too far. But I wanted to set it up for Nathan to share on what we'd be talking about in our presentation later.
Thank you all so much for sharing those thoughts. I think it's real important for us to connect with each other and also ourselves about our personal stake and what we have to lose and gain. So I'm glad we were able to talk about that. And we were talking about some of the problems and some of the solutions that are there for us. And what we're really going to be diving into in our presentation is sort of how we get those solutions and how we with Sunrise have worked to gain a lot of those solutions through federal policy. We've done a lot of push for that recently in the last year. We're going to be sharing about a long escalation campaign arc we did with direct actions and thousands of young people mobilizing for a 400-mile march, for hunger strikes, for sit-ins on a senator's lawn, and for a blockade of the White House, and so much more. And so I hope we can share with you stories of this campaign and of these, and hopefully inspire y'all and show y'all some of the actions and steps we can take to be a part of this solution. We also do local campaign work too. It's not all federal level. I know we were talking about public transportation. Right now we're actually doing a campaign around that, pushing for free DART public transit for students K through 12, which is something that exists in other cities like Austin, but we don't have in Dallas yet. But we're getting kind of close. We might win this thing. And so we could win it with your help this Tuesday if you're able to come out to the DART board meeting. We're trying to show out as many people as we can there and get the remaining council members and DART board members who aren't on board yet on board so we could win that. So we can share more information with y'all about that, definitely at the presentation or if you find one of us. And I hope we can see y'all there. I just want to sort of close with saying that climate change is scary. It's scary to think about. It's scary to talk about. But I think we have an obligation to keep talking about it, like you all just did during your pair shares. Because like I said, we're extremely fortunate that as humans, we have the capacity to understand these systems and talk about them, the systems that cause climate change and social injustice, and not just the capacity to understand these systems, but the capacity each one of us has as humans to change these systems and help create a better world. So whatever it is that you shared as your personal stake, whether it's your kids or access to green spaces or the economy in Texas, I hope that you'll hold those things that you care about close to your heart and move forward with love to create the world that we all deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. That was wonderful. And now, please rise as you're willing and able to sing our closing hymn, We Are Building a New Way, number 1017 in the teal hymnal, and the words will be projected on the screen.
Strong every day, we are building start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Now, as we extinguish our candle, but not our commitment to our mission to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. This we do because of our vision. We envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. And our benediction today comes from Vicki Struckman. I will do more than care. I will help. I will do more than belong. I will participate. I will do more than believe. I will practice. I will do more than dream. I will work. I will do more than teach. I will inspire. I will do more than give. I will serve. So as we go forth, as much as you can, help, participate, practice, work, inspire, and serve. Go in peace.